2 minutes in this interjection.
Sure. Thank you. I accept that Amendment 6 is flawed in that it doesn't specifically state, as does Amendment 4, that this relates to the principal private residency rather than an office block or a hotel, and those few words are missing. But it is intended in the same context and in the same spirit as the previous amendment, and I think it curtails too with Deputy Healy's amendment. Look, I just want to point out that you're arguing here that this is not relevant to this bill, which is about land valuation, and we're looking at the bill here. All the amendments are about the valuation of land and changing the Valuation Acts, and I can understand the purpose of it, etc. But the argument you're making is that technically this is not relevant to the bill that you're putting forward. But you don't explain how Amendment 5 of Section 170A of the Planning and Development Act, to do with the SDZs that I referred to earlier on, which says that the Planning and Development Act should be amended to A in subsection 3A by the substitution of satisfies or fails to satisfy and deletion and may satisfy the criteria referred to in the paragraph, and it goes on. But basically this is dealing with the question of a measure which will allow developers to easily change an SDZ should there be an alteration or an amendment required to it. So why is there an amendment of the Planning and Development Act 2000 stuck into this, when there's two other, all week we're going to be discussing that, and that amendment could have been more appropriate there. So I would contend, and I would argue, and particularly given everything that's been said about the urgency of stopping evictions, about how families and the tens of thousands of them are facing the stress, the worry, the absolute emotional distraught and physical distraught consequences of the potential evictions that could take place and those that have taken place and indeed are taking place. What is the problem with technically putting in an amendment that facilitates ordinary families to stay in their homes, as against an amendment which facilitates developers to bypass planning laws? And why is it appropriate for that amendment to be there, and one that deals with the current crisis for tens of thousands of families not to be there?